DreAllDay.com.
Put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, that is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as DreAllDay, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is we are on part 3 of our ongoing series, things about marketing that you should know that many people don't know. But I'm going to make it real simple and real, quote unquote, it's going to feel like common sense once I get it out to you, as I am. That's my brand. That's what I do. I make things simple to understand I take things that could be complex for most people and make them simple for everybody to understand. That's what I do best. You want to do more of that, all you gotta do is listen to the show. So we will pick up right where we left off, which is on point number 7. I will tell you, if you're not getting my emails every day, you should. Make sure you go to workonmygame.com, get on my email list for free. So picking up point number 7, consistency beats virality. All of you know what virality means, right? It means to create some content that happens to go viral, as we say. What does go viral mean? Generally, it means something getting a whole lot of attention in a really short period of time in such a way that generally cannot be manufactured. I mean, you can try, but generally you cannot manufacture virality, because if there was a way to manufacture it, then everybody would just be going viral every single day, and then going viral would not be going viral, because if everybody was doing it, then it doesn't really matter. Virality is relative to what everybody else is normally doing. So it would be great if you could create a piece of content and it just went viral and got 10 million views in 3 weeks or even 3 days. But the reality is virality, as I just explained, is difficult to manufacture. It's nearly impossible. And no matter how hard you try, you may still not get there. You can try to manufacture a viral moment, but it may just not happen. But one thing that everyone can do is consistently put your message out there to the world. And consistency, all of you can control. You cannot control if 10 million people decide to click on your link. This does not require any amount of serendipity or luck. It just requires plain consistency, and consistency is a byproduct of discipline, and discipline is a byproduct of structure. Now, I've been publishing content myself for 2 decades consistently. I've never had any piece of content go viral. I've had content get a lot of views or a lot of clicks or a lot of engagement, but I never had anything go viral where it just blew up to a crazy amount in a day or a week or even a month. Again, I've had content get a lot of views. I have content that's been viewed and consumed over 1 million times, many pieces that fit that description, but those things happen as they built up over years, not something that happened in a handful of days. Now, again, some faster than others, but never some explosion. Now, at the same time that I've never had any content go viral, whenever I am out and about every week, I run into a person out, and it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be at the mall by myself. I can be at a playground with my child. I can be at a business conference in a suit. I could be at, where else can I be? I can be at the airport traveling somewhere. I could be at the grocery store, Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, getting some groceries. Every week I run into a person who knows me from some form of content that I have published over the last 20 years. I would say it's about 50-50 between the people who know me from the type of stuff I talk about now, which is mostly mindset, business, or professional career focused stuff, and people who know me from my basketball days. For example, the day before I put these notes together, I was in an Uber, and the driver, Charlie, he told me that he used to watch my basketball videos every day when he was growing up. He now runs his own training program in South Florida. And that's not because he saw one video of mine go viral. I mean, remember what I just told you? He said he used to watch my videos every day. Now, to watch my videos every day, guess what needs to be happening? I need to be putting out content every day. All right, that's the consistency that I'm talking about. And any of you can do this. Point number 8, today's topic, once again, is things about marketing that you need to understand. Number 8, respect the buying cycle. And going along with what we just talked about in point number 7, the reason consistency matters so much is because sometimes people are interested in hearing your message, but they're not quite ready to take action on that message. There's a difference between someone consuming your message and taking action on the message. Would you agree? And the buying cycle is about understanding that difference and respecting the fact that just because someone has consumed your message and not taken action does not mean that they will never take action. And you have to respect the fact that not everyone is ready to take an action today because they're in a certain situation in their own lives or careers that you know nothing about that precludes them from taking the step that you're asking them to take. However, if you continually put your message out there and you are consistent and they already like your stuff, then eventually they will get to a space in which they are ready to take action on your message. And as long as you consistently giving them the message, then as soon as you give it to them and it also matches with them being ready, you get that intersection. Now they'll be ready to do something. This is how the buying cycle works in one way. There are many different ways it can work, but this is one example. So remember what I just told you about being consistent, and also, again, looking at your current customer base. Not everybody who's in your audience, whether they have bought from you before or they have not everyone's on the same buying cycle as you are on with your selling cycle. So for example, just because you put out an announcement about your new product today does not mean everybody who is going to buy the product is going to buy it the day that you announce it. Some people might buy it next week. Somebody might buy it next year. Somebody may hear you, but they have other things on their mind, so they completely miss your message consciously. But if you deliver it consistently, then 6 months from now, they'll buy it when they hear about it. Oh, why didn't I notice that when he said it 6 months ago? Well, they heard it, but they didn't really register because they had other things going on in their lives that were more important to them than the announcement of your new product. This is part of the buying cycle. And you have to understand, not every human is operating the same way that you're operating. What you have going on in your life right now is completely different than what other people have going on in their lives. So when I release a new product or I create a new service, for example, it would be amazing. It'd be great if everybody would just go buy it all on the same day and all at the same time. And every sale I'm ever going to make all happen at once. That'd be great. It'd be very exciting. I guess you can call that going viral. On the launch day, you just sell everything. The fact of the matter is, not everybody is ready or even needs what you're offering at the same time. And this is what I talked about when I did an episode. Let me see how long ago that was. I can't remember. I've done so many episodes. I can't even tell you how long ago it was that I've done some of these. But I did an episode on focus on the marriage, not just the wedding, episode 1404. So that was, what was that? Almost 2,000 days ago. So that was a long time ago. Doesn't seem like it, but focusing on the marriage, not just the wedding. What does that mean? All of you know what a wedding is, right? A wedding is a big party, an event where two people announce their nuptials, that they are committing to each other as husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband, right? And what is the marriage? The marriage is everything that happens after that day. Which one is harder, the wedding or the marriage? All right, a wedding is fun. A wedding is a party. All right, who doesn't like going to a party? Parties are very fun. It's fun to go to a wedding because you get to see these two people pledge their love for each other until death do they part. It doesn't always happen, especially in the United States. But and also it's a party, and usually besides bringing a gift, you don't have to pay for anything. You get all the food for free. Hopefully there's an open bar, and there's a whole lot of fun to be had. It's a big celebration, wedding day. Now the marriage is everything that happens for the next 30 years, and the wedding is a whole lot more fun than the marriage on average. And this is the point that I'm making here, is that many people, when they put their things out, the things you want to offer to the world, you focus on the wedding day, which is cool, this big launch, and whatever happens that day, it happens. But what you really need to focus on is the marriage, because most of your sales, if you added them all up over the course of 10 years, most of your sales are not going to happen on the first day. Most of them are going to happen on all the other days after the first day. And accumulation is the word I'm looking for. Cumulatively, actually, is the real word I'm looking for. So some people may be ready that day. Some people may not be ready for 6 months. Some people want it, but they won't be able to afford it, or they won't be able to use it for 2 years. So they won't buy it until 2 years from now when they're ready. This is the reason why you have to stay consistent and stay in the game, so that when people are ready, you are ready to serve them. And again, you got to meet people where they are sometimes. Sometimes they'll meet you where you are, but sometimes you got to meet them where they are. So for example, a woman bought a set of books from me maybe a year or so ago, right? I don't know this woman, but I'll tell you why I'm even registering her, because we sell a good number of books. So this woman bought books from me a year or so ago. The business that she was in at the time that she bought the books, she has now closed that business and retired from that business. So those books that she bought, she no longer really needs those books because she bought them for a specific business purpose. She has now moved on to doing other things. And right now she's in communication with our team about how we could best serve her in her current situation, because she's doing something completely different now, because the books that she bought then are not really useful based on what she's doing today. Now, if I put out a book on sales, for example, if you work in the sales industry, then if you work in the sales industry, you may need the book and want the book immediately. Or if you're a leader of a sales team, you may say, hey, I want 10 copies to give to all of my salespeople right now. But if you hear about that book, even if you like my message, but you're not in a sales job right now, maybe you don't really need it right now, but at this time next year, you'll be in a sales job and you're like, man, I need to learn what to do here. Oh, you know what? Dre has that book on sales. Let me go get it now. See, buying cycle simply means that not everyone is ready to do things at the time that you might that you may want them to do the thing. And usually if you're selling something, you probably want everybody to do everything right now today so you can make some money. But you got to respect the fact that not everybody's ready to move at the same time. And you just need to stay in the game. So when they are ready to move, you're right there to help them move. Point number 9. Today's topic, once again, is things about marketing that you need to understand. Another thing about the buying cycle before I even get into point number 9 is understanding that sometimes a buying cycle also is about how long does it take for someone to make a decision to buy the thing that you're selling. If you're selling something like a book that costs $10, then usually that's a decision someone can make within the span of minutes. If you're selling something like a house that might cost $100,000, people may not make a decision that quickly. Sometimes they will, depending on the type of market you're selling in, but many times they do not. So also understanding that sometimes it takes a while and several exposures before a person makes a decision to buy, and different people have different thresholds of exposure that they need before they make a buying decision at different times for different reasons, at different price points for different products. All right, so it can change amongst people. Now let's go on to point number 9. Again, the topic once again here today is things about marketing that you should understand. Number 9, there is no such thing as B2B business. That is not a thing. I know some of you like to use the term. You can keep using it if you want to, because it is colloquially understood. What it means is that there is one business selling things to another business. But I'm telling you that you should never look at your business as B2B, even if you want to use the term, because every purchase and every sale that happens in business, regardless of who's doing the selling, who's doing the buying, what is being bought and sold, and what industry you are in, and no matter how much money is being exchanged, every exchange is between human beings, not between businesses. Businesses don't buy things. People buy things. People who work at businesses make decisions to make those purchases on behalf of the business, but the decision must be made by a human. Now, there will come a time, I think maybe in the next 25 years, actually definitely within the next 25 years, where there will be sophisticated enough artificial intelligence to where the things that a human now has to make a final decision on, the AI can make the decision on its own to make a buying decision, to put in a purchase order, to actually write a check, to send a wire transfer, to click a button and pay for something. There will come a time when AI will be able to make those decisions without a human being. So you bookkeepers and accountants out there, you should learn how this stuff is coming along so you can start using it in your business and not having it replace you or replace your business. But I believe that time is coming. And I will also say that time ain't today. Just today, as a matter of fact, I was on the phone with a bookkeeper who works for a certain company that I'm doing business with. And we just had to verify some details so that they can put forth a wire transfer for me. The point is, I had to talk to a human to do that. I didn't have to go talk to some AI, because if all I had to do was talk to AI, then that human could have just read the document that I sent to them. The AI could have read the numbers and it would have been done. All I did was talk to the human for literally 2 minutes. And let me look, because I just was on the phone with this person. I'll tell you how long the call was. The call was, it was literally a 1 minute outgoing call at 1:46 p.m. today, literally 1 minute. And all I was doing, well, I didn't do anything. I just identified who I was, and they said, I just want to verify the numbers. And they read the numbers off the document. And I said, those numbers are correct. And they said, okay, we're doing it right now. And I hung up. That was the end of the conversation. Eventually, AI will do that so that phone conversation doesn't need to happen. But for now, it still happens. Why does that still happen? Because the money exchange is the big part that makes business business. And for now, we still want humans doing that because we don't want any mistakes. As a matter of fact, you don't want mistakes. You probably want to take humans off the job. But that's a different conversation for a different day. For now, we still want the humans on the job just to make sure that someone is accountable for the decision that gets made. Because you can't hold software accountable. You can hold humans accountable. That's why they're called accountants. They are held accountable. But anyway, just remember what I just told you. But anyone who's done business with a big organization, you should understand that human beings, the person who is sending the money, they are sending the money because of their trust and relationship with a person over there, not just with the company itself. Even if you are buying something from a company and you don't even know the people, there's a level of trust you are granting to them in order to make that exchange. And if they lose that trust, you're going to stop buying from them or get your money back or cancel whatever the situation is. Any of you who's done business with a big organization, again, big organization, let's say a university, a corporation, a government, any other entity that has lots of people working there and they have layers of people, understand that business deals often hinge on your relationships with one or two key people. That's usually how it works. Whenever you do business with a business, whether you are an individual doing business with a company, or for example, like me, if someone reaches out to me and they want me to come speak at their company event, I'm an individual, but that person who I'm talking to is representing a company. So and technically I'm working as a business. So that would technically be business to business. or if you're representing a big business and you're doing business with a business. So there are layers on both ends, and the money being exchanged is not the individual person's money. They're representing the company's money, and they are authorized to make decisions about that money. When you're doing this type of business, understand that business deals hinge on relationships between you and the person over there. That relationship goes away. Let's say that person leaves the company. You may have to start at ground zero to get that deal going again, or you may not be able to do so. Or if, let's just say that, or for whatever reason, that relationship doesn't go so well anymore, they probably won't be calling you anymore to do more of that business, even though they keep buying the same product. They may buy it from someone else because the relationship's not there anymore. So any of you who's done any business with a business, whether you are doing it as a business yourself or as a representative of a company, all of you understands this. The relationships you have on the inside are the reason that that business keeps going. And if that relationship gets lost, the business gets lost. And you only need but one experience in this to have this hit home for any of you who has never had this experience. Those relationships are the reason why the business happens, not because of the product, not because of the service. This illustration underlines the point that businesses is about relationships between people, and this applies the same way when it comes to customers buying from a company. I'll give you another example. There was a company for which there was a guy I reached out to. He had a podcast. I was on his podcast. When was this? We'll say it's maybe about 2019, maybe 2020. I was on his podcast, and I'm not even going to say his name. I was on his podcast, and he told me that aside from having his podcast and his business that he does, he actually had a full-time job working at a company that I had heard of, but I didn't know much about the company. And we had a cool conversation. I did his show, and it was over. Didn't talk to him after that. Maybe about a year or two later, he sent me an email and said, "Hey, we have an event at this company that I work for full time. Could you be a speaker at our event?" And I said, "Sure, I'll be a speaker at your event." So because of my relationship with that guy, I got hired to speak at this company's event. And this company is a serious company who has a serious budget. I spoke at that event. After speaking at that event, about a year-ish went by, and the same person reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have another event, same company, but a different type of event for a different audience of people within our company. Could you be the keynote speaker at this event?" And they booked me. I went and spoke at that event. And at the same time that happened, it was maybe a month or two. So this person reached out to me in, let's say this had to be around August, about speaking at the event. The event was not until November. And around September, that same guy, the guy I had a relationship with, the guy with the podcast, he sent me an email with about 3 people CC'd on the email and said, "Hey, Dre, just want to let you know, hey, we are moving forward with having you at the event. And I have CC'd XYZ because today is my last day working at ABC company." So he was leaving the company for whatever reason, but he was handing me off to his other contacts, and he had those people CC. I still did the gig and all of that. If I will ever get called to do business with this organization in the future, we shall see. That's TBD, to be determined, because my main point of contact within the organization was that guy who was influential when it came to who do we choose to speak at our events. He had a whole lot to say. He was probably, you could essentially say he was in charge of it. And now he's not there anymore. So whoever took his spot, I need to meet that person. And I did meet that person when I did the event. Now, if I made a strong enough impression or not, we'll see. If my phone rings, then I did. But I could always reach out and ring their phone as well, which is something you should always know about marketing. I don't know if that's going to be in my points in this series, but it should always be understood. This is illustrating the point that relationships between people, it applies the same way, again, whether you're buying from a company, whether you're buying from a person, or whether you're selling as a company or selling as a person. Especially for most of my listeners, those of you who are listening to me right now, most of you are small business owners. Small business, I believe, I've heard different definitions of what a small business owner is. Let me see if I can find a definition. Definition of small business owner, or definition of small business actually is what I'm looking for. So according to the United States Department of State, a small business must adhere to size standards, and they say small business in terms of average number of employees over the last 12 months or average annual receipts over time. So can they just give me the damn information? So this is the thing about the government website. They give me all this verbiage, but not actually just giving me so they have a size standards tool, and then they ask you they have like a quiz. Can they just give me the damn answer? I just want the answer. So size standards define small businesses. Can we get an answer to this? They say Common terms you should be familiar with. It's classified as a small business. Then I give me an actual answer. Why can't they just give me an answer? See, this is the reason why we use ChatGPT now. It's not Google, because you got to go through all this just to get a damn answer. Then I give me one. Anyway, I've heard small businesses 50 or fewer employees. I haven't heard small business be determined by how much money you can make. You make a good amount of money as an individual person. But anyway, most of you are small business owners. You need to understand that the relationships within and outside of your business are the key to the business going, sustaining, and for your next business deal or for your continued business deals. Most of you who already own a small business, you very well understand this. Your business hinges on those relationships. So when people say they're doing B2B, colloquially, we get what it means, right? At the same time, the relationships are why that business continues. You lose that relationship, you lose the business. All that said, let's recap today's class. It was part 3, ongoing series. Things you need to understand about marketing. Number 7, consistency beats virality. You cannot make yourself go viral. Any of you can make yourself be consistent. Number 8, respect the buying cycle. Sometimes certain products and services and offers take longer to be bought. Think something like a house or a yacht. Take a long time for someone to make a buying decision often, but think other things make a quick decision, like buying a Snickers bar or some cotton candy at the baseball game or a book. It's a shorter buying cycle, and also understand that people make decisions at different times for different reasons. Someone may need a life change to happen for them to need a new car or new insurance, or now they want to get some sneakers now. Now they want to buy some dress shirts and ties, whereas before they always in t-shirts and shorts. So there's a reason something changed. They got a new job. Now they got to be dressed up every day. So things change that give people different reasons to want to make different decisions in their lives. You just need to be consistent, so such that when that change happens, you are the first thing or person that they think of. Number 9, there is no such thing as B2B business. Every business is run by a human being or operated by human beings, plural. The relationships between the humans on either side of the equation are the only reason that that business occurs. So maintain those relationships and keep building them. All that said, everybody, tomorrow we'll get into the next part of our series, things you need to know about marketing. Between now and then, you want to start applying the things that you have heard at an expert level and strategize how to use them, systematize how to do it consistently, and be held accountable so that we have a clean process that works over and over and over again with me as your coach to do the whole thing. Yes, you can get all that and more. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all